Hey guys, welcome to the weekly analysis. And as you can see in front of me, I have the Nifty chart on a 15 minutes time frame. Not gonna lie, this week has been extremely sideways. And on Friday session, we noticed something what we call as in the technical analysis a fake out. Now, why was it a fake out? Let me just zoom it in. So here we had a small, very feeble resistance. I had mentioned it in my daily analysis video as well because this cannot be considered as a very strong resistance zone. So clearly when market broke this, it doesn't mean that it will just keep going up. It will create volatility because there are no plausible scenarios in the market. There is no momentum, there's no news in the market. So clearly it was a fake out, and as you can see, market came below that and it just closed below it, so clearly indicating a volatility. So now, like I mentioned in my all the other videos as well, so for me particularly as a trader, if I'm opening it on a daily time frame, I'll zoom it in again for you guys. Here what we notice is a pattern known as insider candles, and there are multiple insider candles. That's how sideways the market has been, and this big red candle can be considered as the mother candle. And inside the inside candle there was another insider candlestick pattern appearing, and there was a fake out of that. And on a daily time frame, we call this as a inverted hammer. So clearly this indicates that price was not able to hold the higher level. But again, since it was a Friday session, we cannot conclusively say that it is a very bearish turn, because people usually book their positions on Friday because they don't want to take that risk over the weekend. So it could be just because of that reason. The just because the chart technical analysis says that this is a bearish pattern doesn't mean market will just fall tomorrow or day after tomorrow. That's how I particularly look at this particular pattern. And clearly, as long as market stays within this zone, this how particularly have mentioned these support and resistance zone here of the mother candle, market will remain volatile. When market will get interesting for me as a technical price action trader, if I open it on a bigger time frame, if I zoom out, when you get the bigger picture, you realize market is again making some sort of a bearish pattern over here. And clearly the support zone at 23,300 is what I myself am looking at, because here when a market comes to this particular level, it will give us some sort of momentum. Either market will take support and go up, or market might just break that and continue on a downward trajectory. So we still do not have a very clear idea what will happen, and that depends upon multiple factors. For example, in the coming year, we'll have our budget, we'll have GST councils, all the Fed meetings, and inflation data keep coming up every month. So all this data is going to influence whether market will either go down or will it take support and go up. But till then, we have a bit of uncertainty. That is why we see the insider candles or doji candles. So next off, I have the chart of Bank Nifty, and again very similar pattern, guys. On a daily time frame, if you can see, it's not even worth going into a smaller time frame, because again it's just a very similar volatility. Myself, as technical analysis price action trader, I'm not interested when market is stuck in this zone, giving stop losses and volatility. But what is very interesting for me is the daily chart on a Bank Nifty's weekly or daily time frame. Here, as you can see, there's a particular trend line support. It has been tested 3 times already, and market is trading very close to that, and it has never even touched that part. But I know some of you will say you can't just draw a single line. Guys, you are right. We can draw it as a zone over here, and clearly market is taking support in this particular trend line. But if we pinpoint it and if we zoom it, we'll get to know that market is yet to reach that level. So clearly, for me, this is a very important zone. When market comes to this level, I will be carefully watching the market, because depending upon the macro and microeconomical news, market will either take support and go up, or it will break down and fall. But till then, we'll clearly see the same sideways volatility that we have seen this week. So next up, I have I've actually chosen 5 to 6 good stocks with a good chart pattern. This is clearly only for educational purpose on how to spot a chart pattern on a daily analysis. When you do on a weekly analysis, this is how you can spot them. So that is why I'm showing you these charts, and this is not an investment advice. Do your own analysis, go through the charts that I mentioned, and try to understand the price action, how the price will move. First off, I have the Laurus Labs, and this is not the best chart pattern that I have in my video, but I'm mentioning it because this is a well-known name, and the FNO is also available. So we'll be able to, I think, see a little bit of more action in a stock like Laurus Labs, right? So clearly, as you can see, stock, if I zoom out on a daily time frame, or if I can show it on a weekly time frame, right? So there is a resistance. Basically, I can call it multiple things, right? I can call it as a inverse head and shoulder pattern, or I can call it as a cup and handle pattern, because there's a small handling appearing on a daily time frame. If I can just go to the daily time frame over here, so here's a daily pattern, and as you can see over here, we see a good cup and handle pattern. So if we consider this as the cup, this is the handle, or we can even call it a rounding bottom pattern. If I just go to the hourly chart, so this is how you can do an analysis. There will be a lot of patterns. Some people call it something else, but at the end of the day, guys, what it is a basically a resistance zone. The stock is trading near a resistance zone. That means either it will break out of that zone and create a breakout. So now clearly, on if you look at it on a daily time frame as well, on Friday's session, it followed by a very good hammer pattern over here. So this is indicating a very bullishness. It broke out of this sort of horizontal zone that it created for itself. Right here, I can see that it created a horizontal zone, and in yesterday's market, it broke out of that zone. So clearly, it is now taking this as a resistance. But then this whole green region that you can see is a cluster of resistance. But if market is able to close above this level, and then it will clearly give some sort of momentum, is what I feel. And then once that is over, if stock somehow manages to close over here, the next big thing that I can see for this stock is actually the all-time high at 730 rupees. So this will be the next resistance for me. And again, this is not a buy or sell advice, guys. I'm just explaining a pattern and how there can be multiple pattern in just one stock. We notice so many different pattern. You can call it anything you want. Next off, we have Labs. I have a lot of lab, basically pharmaceutical companies. So it's actually worth noting. As a homework, maybe go to Nifty Pharma. See, you can search it as CNX Pharma on TradingView, and you will be able to get the chart. So here on a daily time frame itself, if you have been trading for a while, you'll notice it immediately. What is it? Basically inverse head and shoulder pattern. A inverse head and shoulder with two shoulders. This appears sometimes. It will not be like it is in the textbooks all the time, right? So this is a chart pattern on a daily time frame. But I want you guys to take a look at it on a hourly time frame, because there it looks very beautiful. As you can see, much better than the chart that I previously showed on Laurus Labs. IPCA Labs has a resistance zone that it has respected multiple times, and on Friday session at the end, with the very end, market broke out of the zone. So clearly, I mean, there's not a lot of space for the stock to travel. This is the all-time high, so clearly market might just go to this level and then come down, but still that is good enough for a trader like me, I think, to take a short trade. So this is another good chart that I have. Again, do your own analysis before entering into any of the stocks. So next up, I have another laboratory stocks. Again, like I mentioned, a lot of pharma stocks have made a beautiful pattern, and so has CNX Pharma. So please go and check that out after this video. So as you can see, Alchem Labs are very relatively sideways stock. I noticed maybe one or two pattern in a year in this particular stock, and finally it's one of those rare times. One, two, three, four. We can call this a fifth, sixth, seventh, and now finally for the eighth time when this particular resistance, that trend line resistance, was tested, market has managed to close above the resistance. So this basically means that market is maybe able to break out of this zone and move higher on the Monday session. So this is one of the best charts that I've seen in my weekend analysis. So clearly, as you can see, stock managed to make the base. Even though Nifty made lower lows, Alchem Labs has managed to make that lower base in a very straightforward way. So clearly, it shows some sort of a inherent strength in the stock. So this is definitely going to be on the top of my list for the week. So next off, we have another stock called as IPAC Durables. This actually got listed just this year, I think maybe in Jan or Feb, a relatively new stock to the stock market. And one disclaimer that I want to give you guys is what you can notice below, right? And over here, so this indicates that there's not a lot of volume in this particular stock. So you have to trade carefully in when you are dealing with stocks like this, which are very relatively new. have very less interest of people trading in it. And you can see that stock is just basically making no momentum on some days, and hitting just upper stocks, and no, not much volume to trade with. So clearly, I myself, when this particular stock gives a breakout over here, this is our time breakout, and we notice this in listed stock, especially if a new IPO comes out after 5-6 months. They basically may hit a new all-time high. There are a whole lot of videos on YouTube you can watch about it, and clearly this particular stock is also just trading very close to that resistance zone, about to make a new all-time high. So this will be on my watch list, but clearly I'll trade carefully with it because of the less volumes. And now next up I have Taj GVK. Actually, the whole the restaurant or hospitality business, as we call it, is in a buzz, and that is mainly because we've covered this over the week. Whenever we have made a video, in the post market analysis as well, I mentioned it multiple times. A lot of foreign brokerage firms have given buy rating, and they've produced many sort of reports, because year end every investment banking company comes out with a report, and they all had positive things to talk about the hospitality business in India. So clearly, it gave a quite a push for all these stocks in the coming week. So clearly, we can see that in Taj GVK hotels as well. And this is a very straightforward pattern, right? Guys, some people may call it as invest head and shoulder, or it's just basically at resistance at the end of the day. Don't worry about the pattern name. Here, all we have is a bunch of resistance, a very respected resistance over here. And clearly on Friday's session, there was a little bit of volume spike, and I'll just zoom it in on a 15 minutes time frame here, so you get a better clarity, right? So I'll go to the 15 minutes time frame. You can see that there was a huge volume spike over here, and as you can see, but at the end of the day, market took a little bit of resistance and came down. So if somehow Taj manages to close above this and make a breakout and stay there for a while, clearly this will be a very good breakout, and it will be on the top of my list as well, next to the I think the Alchem Labs chart that we saw, even Ipka Labs. So, and next off we have Taj GVK Hotels, one of the best chart patterns that I've seen, because clearly it has tested it multiple times. It gives me a bit of faith. The volume is there, so clearly, and there was a good momentum on Friday as well. So clearly, a chart to be on the top of my list. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. Again, just mentioning, this is not an investment advice. I'm just showing all the chart patterns that are available in the market at the moment. Please do your own analysis before making any sort of investments. Thank you.